Hello, everybody. It is August the 2nd, Friday, August the 2nd, and it is Feel Good Friday here at Church at Home with Rachel. It is also Feel Good Friday for me because Sunday at about noon, I will be going on holidays for the end of August. So I will publish the Gospel on the Go for Sunday, and then you won't hear from me till September 1st. So please don't unsubscribe. Just hang tight till I get back or watch some old videos. There's over 1,000, so I imagine there's some you can get caught up on. But today for Feel Good Friday, I'm going to totally break copyright rules and things like that. I'm going to read you a story from a book called Does God Have a Big Toe? Stories about stories in the Bible by Marc Gellman and Oscar de Mejo. I love these stories. I've used them for children's focuses in church. And this one I'm going to share with you is called Adam's Animals. God made and named almost everything in the world. God made and named heaven. God made and named earth. God made and named the sun and the moon, the stars and the waters. God made and named almost everything. God even made and named the first man, Adam, which means red earth, because God made the first man out of red earth. But God did not name the animals. God thought, I want Adam and Adam's children to protect and care for these animals. Maybe if I let Adam name the animals, he will get to know them better and really take care of them. Well, when Adam heard that he could name the animals, he was so happy. He ran right over to a brown furry with teeth who was sleeping under a tree and yelled in his ear, I am going to name you. The brown furry with teeth opened one eye, yawned, and went back to sleep. Very soon Adam realized that he didn't know what to name the brown furry with teeth, or for that matter any of the other animals. Adam sat down on the sleeping brown furry with teeth to think up a plan for naming the animals. Suddenly it came to him, I know, I will give each animal a number. That way when I call to an animal I can just call its number. Adam looked down at the brown furry with teeth, lifted up its ears and screamed, You are number 1. The brown furry opened one eye, yawned, and went back to sleep. Adam spent the rest of that day numbering the animals. He gave numbers to slimy swimmers with no fins, fuzzy hoppers with twitchy noses, squeaky flyers with colored feathers, chirping swingers with curling tails, speedy crawlers with tiny feet, scaly swimmers with red eyes, and a whole bunch of gray, black, and white furries with teeth who looked like they were related to number 1. In the late afternoon, somewhere between the numbering of the tiny sand diggers and the swarming wood eaters, Adam lost count. He plopped down again on the brown furry with teeth to think up a new plan for naming the animals. After a time, Adam decided, I will call all the animals, Hey You. That way, when I need an animal, I will only have to remember one name. The next day, Adam needed a big rock moved out of his way. He wanted the large, gray, wrinkled-up, long-nosed, big-eared, white-tusked, tree-eating stomper for the job, so he yelled out, Hey you! Come over here and move this rock. But instead of the large, gray, wrinkled-up, long-nosed, big-eared, white-tusked, tree-eating stomper, a rather small, quite noisy, banana-eating, chirping swinger hopped on top of the rock and began eating banana. Adam was quite discouraged and returned to the brown furry with teeth to think up a new plan for naming the animals. But this time nothing came to him. Then the brown furry woke up, shook Adam into a nearby bush, growled a huge growl, looked Adam in the eye, and said to him, Listen to me. With all your talking, you never once thought to ask us, the animals, what we would like to be named. Why don't you try that? Now, I don't know what they call a skinny, hairless, red earth foot walker like you, but they call me a bear. So Adam asked all the animals what they wanted to be called. And you know what? They told him. Does God have a big toe? I love that story. I love that story because it really speaks to me, especially in our society right now where we say that we are encouraging our young people to be independent. We want them to learn and to think for themselves. We want them to make good decisions. We want them to grow up and become the people that God called them to be. to embrace their warts and celebrate their things they're awesome at. And yet, when those same young people come to us and say, "This is who I believe I am," there's a huge swath of society that knocks them down and says, "How dare you? You were created to be." I think sometimes with the whole idea of LGBTQ and Two Spirited Plus, with the whole idea of trans, with pronouns, and all of these conversations are happening in the woke world, I think we forget something. We seem to believe that these young people, and some not so young people who are struggling with these things, and some who aren't struggling but are just reveling in the fact that they've finally been given opportunity to name their truth, we forget that they were created in God's image, not ours. Think about that. When someone comes up to you and says something to you that goes against who you are, makes you feel like that your opinion doesn't matter, that you don't matter. Do you feel like they're looking at you as one of God's children, created in God's image? Or do you end up feeling like somehow you're lesser than? That somehow you don't live up to the image they think you should? The fact is, we can't know what God's image truly is, as God has not given us a form. Now, we had Jesus for a while, but God is very clear about that He sent Jesus as part of God's self to walk with us like one of us, and then Jesus ascended. So that was like a temporary shell of a being, that for us, for our sake, to understand who God could be in a very only part of God, in a way that we as people could understand. But we forget that we are all created in God's image. And we're not supposed to start saying that God is a male or a female, that God is somehow like us. We are created in God's image, which means the best of us comes from the best of God. The crappy parts of us, I think we just inherited, we just figured it out for ourselves. And there's something about recognizing the wisdom in this story about Adam's animals, about Adam naming the animals. Do I really believe? I love that story. Is it true? No, of course not. It is a story. It is a narrative that helps us understand things or think about things a little bit differently. And when we think about it, did God intend for Adam to go and figure out names for them? Or do you think God intended that Adam would come into relationship with them so that together they could discover their name? That Adam would recognize the humility built into him, that he was called to ask them their name. What would happen if we were to ask our young people who they are? And quite literally, even their name. I have a friend who is a follower of our videos and on Facebook, and this friend is trans, and in some aspects presents as a woman. But I've noticed lately on Facebook that he presents, it says that he commented. So it's not up to me to make a judgment. It's not up to me to determine who this person is. In my mind, it's up to me to ask this person to tell me about themselves. How do you see yourself in the mirror? How do you see yourself when you think about your life and your future? How is it you want people to respond to you? And what skin is it off my nose is if someone who looks or has been known as a female determines that they really are male. Why does that matter? Why is it such a big deal for me if someone else sees themselves somewhere else? I mentioned yesterday about, worrying that somebody shared scripture, and I was worried that there was another one of these going to slam me because who do I think I am as a female, being a priest or a bishop? That's the same thing. When someone tells me I cannot be a bishop because I'm a woman, and I can't be a priest because I'm a woman, isn't that similar to me saying to somebody else, you can't be a guy because you look like a woman? Who you are on the inside of who you are. What you look like on the outside is one thing. In my mind, I could look like Cindy Crawford. And if I want to feel like Cindy Crawford and I want to present myself like I'm Cindy Crawford or someone who looks like Cindy Crawford, then more power to me. Why does the world need to take a look at me and sneer if I present myself like I am as felt as Cindy Crawford? I'm not. I know that. I live in that reality. But what would be wrong if I had the self confidence and the self love to be able to say, look at me in all my glory? We don't we don't have the right. We really don't have the right to tell other people what to think. We can hope, we can pray for them, we can do all those things. At the end of the day, they need the ability to name themselves. Whether that is truly the name, like the actual name they've been given, like, you know, um, Stephanie to Stephen, or um, like Dawn Dawn to Dawn Don, or vice versa. They have the right to choose their own name, but they also have the right to choose their pronoun. And what bloody difference does it make? The only thing is it might be a little awkward until we get to know them better, and then it will become natural. But isn't it better that we get to know the person and have a relationship with them the way Adam had to get to know big furry, big teeth guy was really named Bear? How much easier would it be if we all just looked at each other and said, who are you? What is your name? How would you like me to address you? And then move on from there. Maybe we all need to recognize that we are all Adam's animals. And we are all able to name ourselves. And we are all able to accept the name that others give to themselves. Just some thoughts to think on for the next little while. I will, as I said, I'll see you again on Sunday for Gospel on the Go, and then I will be off on some holiday time during August, and then back raring to go in September. God bless you all. I really, really am thankful for this community. And remember, your bishop loves you. I'll see you Sunday and then back in September.